Toastmaster. Walden Pond is a very famous pond. You read it in poetry, you read it in books. When I was growing up, we called it Lake Walden. It was up in Waltham, Massachusetts. And they had this pier that was made out of cement. And all the kids would be jumping off this pier. And I wanted to jump off it, but I was probably 6, 7 years old maybe. It was, looking back at it, it was like 200 feet high. But it was only about 12. And all I wanted to do was jump off the pier so I could be like my brothers. I mean, I saw kids younger than me, I thought, anyway, jumping off, and I was too scared. So I used to go to the edge, just look down, see all the kids swimming in the pond, and my father said, jump. No. Okay, don't. No, I went. Well, my brothers were down there. They knew. They were kind of whiling down there, and they had the little float rafts, and they were waiting for me, because I guess they were all in on it together. So the first impromptu thing I probably did, not to retrogress back to what I was, is learn how to swim. I think from that lesson, I learned to fight fear at a very young age, but I didn't know it. Again, you have to grow up a little bit to go back in memory to see where you learn the difference between wanting to learn something and having to learn something. Fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmasters, today I hope to share with you the competition that's out there to become a professional and how you can compete in the world today and become a professional. In professionalism, trust me, I don't have a magic recipe for it, but I do have 3 ingredients which you can use in any shape or form you want. Professionalism is not wearing a suit and tie, shiny shoes, selling $1 million homes. It's not having a certificate that says Maurice J. Jordan Law Firm. Of course, I can lie, so I can probably be a good attorney. Right? Well, my friends, I can do that. That's not what professionalism is to me. I can only tell you today what it is to me. The world out there today looks at professionals as somebody making, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000, 6 figures a year. They're millionaires. They have their own homes. That's not a professional to me. Because especially being in the food and beverage business for over 40 years, I've worked with professional dishwashers. What made them professionals? They came to work every day. They actually enjoyed what they were doing. They had respect for their job because they knew that without clean plates, without clean silverware, without doing their job, little Bill Belichick there, just do your job! That's what makes us professionals. I worked with professional cooks that were 15, 20 years older than me when I first started out in the business back in the 70s. I was 19 years old when my chef asked me to be a supervisor in the kitchen. I was scared to death. A supervisor? And this is at the Union Oyster House, the oldest restaurant in the United States. And there's guys there that were like older than God. And he's asking me to supervise the kitchen, which means I have to tell these guys what to do. And I had to give it some thought because it was a different type of operation. So after a couple of weeks, he asked me, he says, what do you want to do? And I said, okay, I'll take the job. Because it was 60 cents more an hour. You know what it's like making $8.75 in 1974? That's a lot of money. Plus overtime? Yeah, baby. And I used to work 60 hours a week. We're talking tons of money there. That did not make me professional. But it was at that Union Oyster House where I was confronted with this. About a month after taking the job, probably even less than that, maybe 3 weeks, I went into the chef's office. I said, Chef, they're just not doing what I asked them to do. He said, what are you asking them to do? I said, well, they're not set up on time on the line. You want them set up by 4:15. It's always 4:30, 4:45. I mean, I was one of those. I used to do the same thing. I never knew the importance of it. So when I tell them, they just look at me and they just kind of shrug their shoulders. And he said, well, make them do it. I said, how do I do that? Now he's talking to a 19-year-old kid. And Ted, I mean, he was quite the chef. Loved the guy. He's like a teddy bear. He was tall. He was big. He wore his jacket open. He walked around the kitchen smoking a cigar. And he didn't care about anything. Again, looking back, after I grew up, he just needed to fill a position. So he picked on me. Why did he pick on me? Because he saw something in me that I didn't see until later on. So becoming a professional is not always what you want to do. Becoming a professional is sometimes what other people see in you, and they approach you so you can make that step to become a professional. And again, it's not the clothes we wear. It's not the job we do. And here's your 3 ingredients. To become a professional in anything you want to do, you need 3 ingredients. You need hard work, dedication, and discipline. You can take those 3 ingredients and mix them up any way you want. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'd rather work smarter than work harder. Really? Okay, well then, try reading all those books without reading harder. I mean, it takes hard work to read a book. It takes me hard work to read 1 page. I mean, I read it 1 page and I forget half of what I read. I have to go back and read it again. Seriously, so every book I've ever read in my life, I can say with conviction I've read it twice. Don't know why it is, but that's just the way it is. Another thing you need to do to become a professional is something I never did when I was going through junior high school and high school. Do your homework. Do your homework. And my parents, they were blue-collar workers. My mom welded ships during World War II. She met my dad in the Navy Yard. He was a ship fitter. He was a carpenter, a plumber, a copper fitter. He made rope. I mean, my dad did a lot of things. That's what they did during the war. So blue-collar workers in my neighborhood, they went into this, you have to grow up and go to college thing. I never went to college. I never went to culinary school. But I became a professional chef because others saw in me what I couldn't. And they pushed me to the limits. But I wanted to be in the kitchen. So I did what I had to do. I learned how to do my homework. Thank God it was cooking at home and not reading books. But I've worked with cooks that never bought a cookbook, never bought a knife. I would not consider them a professional. They go there, they do their job, they make good food, and they go home. That's not a professional to me. A professional to me is what I see every day when I come to Toastmasters. No matter what meeting it is, it's people wanting to better themselves. And you can't do that unless you do your homework. Dedicate yourself to what you want to do. Don't go to a Toastmaster meeting or a Fireball meeting, or don't go to a board meeting and be unprepared. If you're going to go out and represent your club to the best. If I go out and represent a restaurant, I'm telling you what, if they're renting 1 booth for $300, I'm getting 2. Because I want to be the biggest booth there. I want an ice sculpture. I want my cooks there sauteing things fresh. I mean, I want everything I can do to make sure people recognize the company I work for. Not me, because usually when I do stuff like that, I'm off to the side after it's all done anyways. But I want people to go there and see that, Café L'Orange is the best restaurant available that they can go to in that area. And that, my friends, is what it takes to be a professional. Look in your heart, work hard, dedicate yourself, and by God, just do your job. Madam Toastmaster.